So the wall panels are simply full-size sheets of plywood cut with a 45-degree at the top. So the plywood's 4 foot or 48 inches wide. So we're going to come down the same amount. I'm going to cut both of them, at least lay out. I'm laying out both of them at once. It's important on the siding that there's a good side and a bad side. So this is CDX plywood. I use it for siding, but you might get T111 or something like that. So it's critical that you cut these right. You can't cut them all the same direction. So I'm going to try to demonstrate that. So they got to be opposite each other. And this is probably the easiest way to do it is lay out 2 piles, mark them opposite like this, and cut 4 of them for one side and 4 on the other. You could also use a board for a straight edge again, instead of the chalk line. So I had to set a nail, hold that angle. Oops, no battery. This is the same battery I've been using all along. It's over in the drill slash driver. One. And let's see, I think we'll go on to doing the studs. So actually I'm going to go ahead and cut the other sheet now. See how our saw holds up. It's got to be getting low. Doing this for support on that outside edge. So the saw doesn't hit the floor. Pretty impressive for that saw, for what it cost, the battery. So that's the sheeting for almost a quarter of the building off one charge. And we're still not dead yet, so we'll see how much of the framing it'll cut. So we're ready to do the framing on the wall panel A. Best, most efficient use of material is to get two 2x4 10-foot long and two 2x4 8-foot long. Normally it'd probably be Doug fir, but it could be something else. So anyway, we're going to start with, we'll call them studs. So I'm going to go to the outside, the longest one. It's 87 something. Next I have 45. So the next one we'll go to, let's do the center stud. It's 64 and a half. It's 45. Then the other side of it, the opposite side, coming from the other direction, we can do the sill, which is 48 inches. Now next, let's do the top plate. That's 69 and something. And all these angles are all going to be what's on your square, 45 degrees. So it's pretty simple. We went from the very end on this end, so that'll be our point. And then on the other side of it, we can mark 44 or something, and that's our corner. Let's get our eye protection. There it is. Let's see how our saw does. Impressed so far. Got to reset the depth. Cut the longest stud first. Right in front of me is the sill, that's a square cut. Let's see, which is this one? This is, I think, the middle stud. Uh-oh. And I was binding up, and the blades, or not the blade, the saw is... The thing about the lithium batteries, give them rest a minute, sometimes get a little more juice out of them. So I have a spare battery, it's not a big one. Let's see how far it goes. So I'm pretty impressed. I'm real happy with the saw as much as it got done. For a small saw and at this price. Make sure you have good sharp carbide new blades when you go to do it. Now this battery's this one that I think came with the saw originally. Let's see. I'm not sure if it's a full amp and a half. It probably is. Let's do a square cut. An angle cut. Well, I'm pretty impressed. We cut out the wall framing, got the sheeting cut. We're on the 1.5 amp battery. Still has some juice left in it. I'll start assembling this thing. I'll have to take a break when this battery goes dead. Put it in the driver. Go together. One. So our stud goes to the outside. One stud. We got a 48-inch sill. Got a center one here. We're going to assemble it now. Angle screw it together. So I'm doing this basically like I did the roof panels. sometimes when you're putting these screws at an angle, it can suck the wood over. Sometimes excessively. There we go. Close enough for what we're doing. So wherever this hitch plane's in, up here, tag it, and you just transfer the measurement down. Make sure it stays parallel. Should be close to 2 foot somewhere. So I'm reading about 23. Way over there. Okay. Yep. Looks like this might have to rack, but the plywood will square everything up for us. Whereas the triangle can't be off really as long as the measurements are right. The trapezoid can be skewed. And this one may be. Okay, so in the center of this panel will hit 24, and it's not the center of the stud, but the side of the stud is at 23, so you have nailing right on the center of this panel. That's that way it's intended. So, double check to make sure you get the siding on the right side. So for panel A, so this is panel A, says looking from outside the building. So this would be actually on the left-hand side. So what has happened actually is it flips over. It's framed here. This is looking from inside the building. Now we're going to flip it over. And the plan does indicate that. Okay. So you're putting on the plywood next. And you want the piece of plywood with the nice side out. So it's the one I got buried. Let's move this. So just like that. So now we have dimensions on this plan. So right now you need the left-hand wall panel A, shows siding, says looking from outside the building. So on the corner, the plywood hangs past 1.5 inches, same as on the roof. That's what catches the framing on the other panel. On the floor, it hangs 1.5 inches past. That catches the framing below it, whatever that might be, another sill or whatever. So anyway, I'm going to put this panel to those dimensions. I might have to rack this panel to square it up. So it's this one corner's 1.5 inches below the framing and 1.5 inches outside it. And I'm going to start there. I'm going to tag the corner right there. That's my 1.5 inches goes up and down. That's down close right there. I'll call it good. some of this stuff as you get going, you can invariably, since this is rough framing and it's not a cabinet, you're probably going to have to do a few minor field adjustments here and there. Now I need 1.5 inches on that corner. Just guessing, I'm going to say that's to come up. So this is what panel A, wall panel A for the model 120 Bugout Bungalow looks like. So the important things to notice is the plywood is extending past the framing 1.5 inches. Could be a little bit more depending on the way you got set up, but it's set up for basically 1.5 inches. Also, on this corner, the plywood is coming by 1.5 inches. And the plywood is flush, or should be flush. It's a little bit proud here. It doesn't really affect anything. Because when the roof panel comes over, it can flex a little bit. You can cheat that down, you can trim it. Pretty much a non-issue. And then on the other side, this bottom edge, the framing is coming past the plywood 1.5 inches. This is the center panel. When this panel goes up, that's where you'll be nailing your next panels or plywood or windows or whatever it is. Anyway, that's how you build the wall panel A.